You know, there's a question that starts haunting you after a certain age. It's a question you try to push away, try to ignore, but it keeps coming back late at night when you're lying in bed staring at the ceiling. The question is simple but terrifying. How much time do I actually have left? When I turned 70, I couldn't ignore it anymore. I watched friends my age pass away. Some were healthier than me. Some exercised every day. Some never touched alcohol or cigarettes in their entire lives. And yet, they're gone. Meanwhile, others who seem to do everything wrong are still here, still laughing, still enjoying their grandchildren. It didn't make sense to me, so I did something I'd never done before. I started researching. I talked to my doctor. I read medical journals and studies. I spent weeks trying to understand what actually determines how long we live after 70. And what I discovered changed everything I thought I knew about aging. It turns out there are 7 signs that scientists and doctors use to predict how many years someone has left after 70. These aren't random guesses or old wives' tales. These are real, measurable indicators that research has proven again and again. Some of these signs, I had them and didn't even know what they meant. If someone had told me about these 10 years ago, I would have made very different choices. So today, I want to share these 7 signs with you, not to scare you, not to make you anxious, but because knowledge is power, and at our age, we don't have time to waste on ignorance. Let's start with the first one, and honestly, this one surprised me the most. The first sign that predicts how long you'll live after 70 is something you probably never think about. It's your grip strength. How tightly can you squeeze something with your hand? I know it sounds strange. What does your hand have to do with how long you live? That's exactly what I thought when I first read about this. But the science behind it is remarkable. Researchers at the University of Michigan studied over 8,000 adults over the age of 65. They measured their grip strength using a simple device called a dynamometer. Then they followed these people for years to see what happened to them. What they found was shocking. For every 5-kilogram decrease in grip strength, the risk of death increased by 16%. Not 1%, not 5%, 16%. That's enormous. But why? Why would your hand strength predict your lifespan? Here's what the doctors explained to me. Your grip strength isn't just about your hands. It's a window into your entire body's muscle health. When your grip is weak, it usually means your overall muscle mass is declining. And muscle mass is one of the most important factors in healthy aging. Strong muscles help you maintain balance so you don't fall. They protect your bones from fractures. They help your heart pump blood efficiently. They even affect your brain health and metabolism. When I learned this, I immediately tested myself. I squeezed a tennis ball as hard as I could. Then I tried opening jars, carrying groceries, holding onto railings. I paid attention to how strong my hands felt. And I'll be honest with you, they weren't as strong as I remembered. That was a wake-up call for me. The good news is that grip strength can be improved at any age. Simple exercises like squeezing a stress ball, carrying shopping bags, or doing basic hand exercises can make a real difference. I started doing these daily, and within a few months, I noticed improvement. So here's my question for you. When was the last time you thought about your grip strength? When was the last time you tried to open a tight jar and noticed it was harder than it used to be? Pay attention to this. It matters more than you think. The second sign that predicts longevity after 70 is how fast you walk. Doctors actually call this your gait speed, and some researchers even refer to it as the 6th vital sign, alongside things like heart rate and blood pressure. I remember when I first heard about this study from the Journal of the American Medical Association. They analyzed data from over 34,000 adults aged 65 and older. They simply measured how long it took people to walk a short distance, usually about 4 meters, and then tracked their health outcomes over years. The results were striking. People who walked faster than 1 meter per second, which is roughly 2.2 miles per hour, lived significantly longer than those who walked slower. In fact, walking speed predicted survival better than age, sex, or even chronic disease history. Think about that for a moment. How fast you walk tells doctors more about your future than many of the tests they run in their offices. But this isn't about racing anyone. It's not about trying to speed walk through the mall. It's about what your natural walking pace says about your body. When you walk, you're using multiple systems at once. Your heart and lungs are supplying oxygen. Your muscles are propelling you forward. Your brain is coordinating balance and movement. Your joints and bones are supporting your weight. Your nervous system is sending signals back and forth. Walking speed is like a summary report of how well all these systems are working together. When something starts to decline, whether it's your heart, your muscles, your balance, or your brain, your walking speed often slows down before other symptoms appear. I tested myself after learning this. I measured a distance in my hallway and timed how long it took me to walk it naturally, not rushing, just my normal pace. Then I calculated my speed. I was slower than I expected. Not drastically slow, but slower than I was 5 years ago. And that motivated me to start walking more, to build back some of that speed. If you want to test yourself, here's a simple way. Measure a distance of about 13 feet. Have someone time you, or use your phone. Walk at your normal, comfortable pace. If it takes you more than 4 seconds, your gait speed might be something to work on. And if it is slower than you'd like, don't despair. Walking speed can be improved with regular practice, simple exercises, and staying active. The body responds to what we ask of it, even at our age. The third sign is one you can test right now if you're sitting down. It's your ability to stand up from a chair without using your hands. This might sound too simple to matter, but there's a famous study from Brazil that followed over 2,000 adults aged 51 to 80 for an average of 6 years. Researchers asked participants to sit down on the floor, cross-legged, and then stand back up, using as little support as possible. Each time they used a hand, knee, or other support to get up or down, they lost points. The people who could sit and stand with minimal support were significantly more likely to be alive at the end of the study. Those who struggled or couldn't do it without substantial help had a much higher mortality risk. Now, I'm not going to ask you to sit on the floor cross-legged. At 70, that might not be realistic for many of us. But a modified version of this test is just as revealing. Can you sit in a regular chair, cross your arms over your chest, and stand up without using the armrests or pushing off with your hands? And can you do it 5 times in a row without stopping? This is called the 5 times sit-to-stand test, and doctors use it regularly to assess lower body strength and functional ability in seniors. I tried this myself, and I'll admit it was harder than I thought it would be. The first 2 times were fine. By the third, I felt my thighs burning. By the fifth, I was tempted to use my hands. What this test measures is the strength of your quadriceps, the muscles in the front of your thighs. These muscles are essential for everything you do daily. Getting out of bed, standing up from the toilet, climbing stairs, getting out of a car. When these muscles weaken, your independence starts to slip away. The good news is that leg strength can be rebuilt at any age. Simple exercises like sitting and standing from a chair repeatedly or doing supported squats while holding onto a counter can make a tremendous difference over time. If you try this test and find it difficult, don't be discouraged. See it as information. Your body is telling you something, and now you have the chance to respond. The fourth sign is your ability to balance on one leg with your eyes open. This sounds like something from a children's game, but it's actually a serious predictor of longevity. A study published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine followed adults aged 51 to 75 over a period of 7 years. They asked participants to stand on one leg for 10 seconds without any support. No holding on to anything. No putting the other foot down, just balancing. What they found was alarming. Adults who could not complete this simple 10-second balance test had an 84% higher risk of death from any cause compared to those who could do it easily. 84%. That number stayed with me for days after I read it. Balance isn't just about not falling, although falls are a serious risk at our age. Falls are the leading cause of injury-related death for people over 65. But balance also reflects the health of your brain, your inner ear, your vision, your nerves, and your muscles all working together. When balance starts to go, It's often an early warning that multiple systems in the body are declining. I tested myself carefully, making sure I had a wall or chair nearby in case I wobbled. I stood on my right leg first. I made it to 10 seconds, but barely. I was shaking by the end. Then I tried my left leg, and I almost fell at 7 seconds. That scared me, honestly. I always thought of myself as reasonably fit for my age, but this test showed me there was work to do. Since then, I've been practicing balance exercises every day. I stand on one leg while brushing my teeth. I practice shifting my weight while holding onto the kitchen counter. I even started doing simple Tai Chi movements I found on the internet. Within a few weeks, I noticed improvement. My 10 seconds became more stable. I stopped wobbling as much. It gave me confidence that my body could still adapt and improve. So I encourage you to try this test. Stand near something sturdy for safety. Lift one foot off the ground. See if you can hold it for 10 seconds. If you can, wonderful. If you struggle, now you know what to work on. The fifth sign is something that might seem like good news on the surface, but is actually a warning. It's unintentional weight loss. I know many of us have spent our lives trying to lose weight. We've dieted, exercised, counted calories, and celebrated when the scale went down. So it might seem strange that losing weight could be a bad sign. But here's the difference. After 70, weight loss that happens without trying is not the same as weight loss from a healthy diet and exercise program. Research from the National Institute on Aging shows that unintentional weight loss of more than 5% of your body weight within 6 to 12 months is a significant predictor of mortality in older adults. It's associated with muscle wasting, underlying diseases, and declining overall health. If you weigh 180 pounds and you lose 9 or more pounds without trying over the course of a year, that's a red flag that needs attention. Why does this happen? There are many possible reasons. Loss of appetite is common as we age. Our sense of taste and smell diminishes, making food less enjoyable. Dental problems can make eating difficult. Depression and loneliness can reduce the desire to cook or eat. And sometimes, unintentional weight loss is a sign of serious underlying conditions like cancer, diabetes, or thyroid problems. I've seen this happen to friends. They'd tell me proudly that they were losing weight without even trying. They thought it was a good thing, but within months, they were in the hospital being diagnosed with something serious. The lesson here is simple. If you're losing weight without trying, don't ignore it. Don't celebrate it. See your doctor. Get checked. Find out why it's happening. And if you're finding it hard to maintain your weight, focus on eating nutrient-dense foods, having regular meals, and perhaps adding healthy snacks between meals. Sometimes the solution is as simple as eating with others instead of alone, because we tend to eat more and enjoy food more in company. The sixth sign is your cognitive function, particularly your memory and your ability to think clearly. Now, we all forget things. I walk into a room and forget why I went there. I meet someone and their name escapes me 2 minutes later. That's normal. That happens at every age, though perhaps more often as we get older. But there's a difference between normal forgetfulness and cognitive decline that affects daily life, and this difference has significant implications for longevity. A study from the Rush Memory and Aging Project followed over 1,100 older adults for up to 12 years. They found that those with faster cognitive decline had significantly shorter lifespans. The connection between brain health and overall health is profound and undeniable. Your brain controls everything: your heart rate, your hormones, your immune system, your ability to take medications correctly, your ability to recognize danger and respond appropriately. When cognitive function declines, it affects every aspect of your health and safety. There are warning signs that suggest cognitive decline beyond normal aging: getting lost in familiar places, difficulty following conversations or television shows, trouble managing finances or medications, forgetting recent events while remembering things from decades ago, personality changes or increased confusion. If you notice these things in yourself, or if loved ones express concern, please take it seriously. Early detection of cognitive issues allows for interventions that can slow decline and improve quality of life. There are also things we can do to protect our brains. Staying socially engaged is huge. Loneliness is terrible for brain health. Learning new things keeps the mind active. Physical exercise increases blood flow to the brain. Good sleep allows the brain to clear toxins that accumulate during the day. Managing conditions like diabetes and high blood pressure protects the small blood vessels in the brain. At 70, I made a commitment to keep challenging my mind. I started doing puzzles. I read books that make me think. I have conversations about topics that stretch my understanding. I refuse to let my brain go passive. Your brain is like a muscle. Use it or lose it. And at our age, losing it is not just about forgetting names. It's about losing years of life. The seventh and final sign is one that surprised me most of all. It's not a physical measurement. It's not something a doctor can test with a machine. It's your level of social connection and sense of purpose. I spent so much time learning about grip strength and walking speed and balance. All these physical measures. And then I discovered that loneliness might be more dangerous than all of them. Research from Brigham Young University analyzed data from over 300,000 participants. They found that social isolation and loneliness increased the risk of premature death by 26 to 32%. That's comparable to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It's greater than the risk from obesity. How is this possible? How can being lonely actually kill you? The science is fascinating and heartbreaking. When we're isolated, our bodies go into a kind of chronic stress mode. Stress hormones like cortisol stay elevated. Inflammation increases throughout the body. Sleep becomes disturbed. Blood pressure rises. The immune system weakens. Loneliness literally changes our biology. It tells our body that something is wrong, that we're not safe, that we're not part of a tribe. And our body responds as if we're in danger all the time. Beyond the biology, there's the behavioral aspect. Lonely people are less likely to exercise, more likely to eat poorly, more likely to develop depression, and less likely to seek medical care when something is wrong. And then there's purpose. Studies on blue zones, those regions of the world where people regularly live past 100, all point to purpose as a key ingredient. The Japanese call it ikigai. The Costa Ricans call it plan de vida. It's the reason you wake up in the morning. The thing that makes your life feel meaningful. Without purpose, without connection, the will to live starts to fade. I've seen it happen. People retire and lose their identity. Their spouse dies and they give up. Their children move away and they stop trying. This is why I make an effort every day to stay connected. I call friends, even when I don't feel like it. I talk to neighbors. I volunteer. I try to help others because helping gives me purpose. I look for reasons to get out of bed that go beyond just existing. If you're feeling isolated right now, please hear me. This is not just about feeling sad. Your loneliness is affecting your health. Reach out to someone, join a group, find a purpose, no matter how small. It could add years to your life. So there you have it. 7 signs that predict how long you'll live after 70. Your grip strength, how fast you walk, your ability to stand from a chair, your balance on one leg, whether you're losing weight without trying, your cognitive function, and your social connections and sense of purpose. When I first learned about all of these, I felt overwhelmed. It seemed like so much to worry about, so much to monitor, so much to fix. But then I realized something important. These signs are not sentences, they're information. They're warnings that give us the chance to change course. Unlike so many things in life, these are mostly within our control. You can improve your grip strength with simple exercises. You can walk more and build your speed. You can practice standing from a chair and strengthen your legs. You can work on balance every single day. You can monitor your weight and see a doctor if something seems wrong. You can challenge your brain and keep it active. And you can reach out to others and find meaning in your days. At 70, I refuse to just accept decline. I refuse to assume my best years are behind me. I've seen people in their 80s and 90s who are sharp, strong, and full of life. And I've seen people in their 60s who have already given up. The difference is often not genetics. It's not luck. It's choices. Daily choices that compound over time. So I want to ask you something. Which of these 7 signs stood out to you today? Which one made you think, maybe I should pay more attention to that? Because that's where I want you to start. Not with all 7, just one. Pick the one that resonated most and make one small change this week. Just one. Because small changes lead to bigger changes, and before you know it, you're living a completely different life. Thank you for spending this time with me today. I know it's a lot to take in, and I know some of it might have been difficult to hear, but I believe we're at an age where we deserve the truth, even when it's uncomfortable. If this video helped you in any way, I'd appreciate it if you'd share it with a friend or a sibling or anyone you know who's in our age group. We don't talk about these things enough, and maybe starting that conversation could help someone you love. If you're new here, consider subscribing. I share lessons like this regularly. Things I'm learning about aging, about living well, about staying strong in body and mind as the years go by. Until next time, take care of yourself. You've made it this far. Let's make the years ahead the best ones yet.